MJ has broken up with Paul. I was gonna do a video going over this joyous occasion, but it eventually just passed by, and I felt like there's no reason to really make a whole video dedicated to it now because the time has passed, the moment's passed. We've kind of moved from there. But one thing I wanted to make a video on was something that's been coming up in the Marvel fandom about Spider-Man is it's like, oh well, MJ broke up with Paul, we can get her back with Peter. There is a sect of fans who are now like, maybe we move on from this. Maybe they don't want Peter and MJ together anymore because can they? Because the relationship has just been destroyed so much that maybe it's better for Peter to move on and we get a new love interest and we move away from Mary Jane Watson, and like some people are like, maybe we don't put Peter and MJ back together. So my whole video here is I just want to talk about, should Peter and MJ get back together? That's the question, right? Should they get back together? Can they get back together? We need to figure out, like, here's the thing. There's been multiple instances in comics where relationships between two people have just been decimated, right? They've just been vandalized and destroyed. You can take Rogue, sorry, I said Rouge. Rogue and Gambit, who, for a while, their relationship was seen as beyond repair. And all it took was one good miniseries, and look at them now. Their relationship has been restored, they are married, and they are now seen forever now as, together. They're a duo, right? They're just about to show up in Marvel Rivals as like a tour, right? Like together. And no one's complaining about that at all. Everyone's like, good. If anything, people are like, it's about damn time they got married. That is the core problem, I think, at Marvel. Is Marvel, for some reason, has this mentality that if a superhero is married, that devalues them and less people want to, read that hero because they think they're not as marketable anymore. They think the brand is kind of diminished because, they're not, on their own. Which, that is the dumbest thing I've heard. Because if anything, a hero getting married or a hero then getting kids, getting a family, adds a new dynamic to them, and that opens the door for more stories to be told. That gets an entire new perspective, a new take on this hero. Is because now they have something more to protect. They're not just protecting, the greater innocent civilians in the greater world. They now are specifically like, I want to protect my, significant other and now my children. So now I know sometimes they might even now go even more hard in being a hero and all that. And then they have to balance the work-life thing, without, making sure that, they still have time for their loved ones while being a hero. It adds more to the character. And I mean, like, when you look at like something like Lois and Clark, right? Because that's how I view MJ and Peter. They are the Marvel Lois and Clark. Lois and Clark got married, right? No one complained. It's like, yeah, this is the natural step. They are married, and they have been married since, because DC realized that this is like the golden couple. They are together, never to be separated from now on, right? Since their marriage, that's it. That's been it. And no one's complained. They're like, yeah, that's just how it is, and that's how it should be. That's what Peter and MJ used to be. Until Marvel just decided they wanted to, I guess, not sell comic books that day. So when did the whole Peter and MJ problem happen? Well, when they got married, everyone was happy, right? Because we're like, oh my god, Spider-Man's moving on. He's moving forward as a character. He's now got a wife. And when you look at a lot of the really good Spider-Man stories from the 90s, when he was hitting his stride, a good lot of them, they got Mary Jane in them, right? Like, you look at, like, Venom debut, you have Maximum Carnage, Kraven's Last Hunt. She's there for it all, guys, because that's how it was. Peter and MJ married, no one had a problem, because if anything, again, it adds to Peter's character. Mary Jane Watson is his rock. She is she is the foundation. She's what keeps him going when he is doubting, am I doing the right thing? Should I stop being Spider-Man? Is it even worth it doing this anymore? When he doubts the whole promise he made to Uncle Ben, the great power, great responsibility thing. She's his rock. She keeps him grounded, and she, assures him that what he is doing is right. He is doing good work out there, right? And even if some in the public don't see it that way, the J. Jonahs of the world, she does. She knows, and she will appreciate him for it. And that is what Mary Jane does for Peter. And again, nothing wrong with that. People love it. People love that aspect between them. They love the dynamic between the two characters. How, she's the more outgoing one of the sorts, while Peter is a bit the nerdy one, right? Not to the point of Reed Richards where he doesn't actually, recognize the signs when she's like, hinting at something, and he's like, oh, like, not that dense. But it's that dynamic, right? She's the more outgoing. She's the beautiful one, right? She's the pretty one. All the guys stop and look at her, and she ignores them and went for the nerdy geek of Peter Parker because she saw how good of a person he was. That is a wonderful story, putting them together, right? Because that's the whole thing. Peter is the average nerd who managed somehow, because of how good of a person he was, to score the beautiful girl that, everyone dreams of. It's a wonderful story. And Marvel decided no, because they decided that they wanted to go in a new direction, right? Make it, redo Spider-Man, relaunch him, and we got One More Day, which is one of the worst comics I've ever had the misfortune of reading. That's when Spider-Man died that day, guy. He died that day, and he has not recovered. I mean, we say that. Kind of, it started Civil War, was kind of the end of Spider-Man, because that's led to him unmasking. And then we had all the stories after, where it's like he's on the run, people are constantly going after him, and MJ, they can't really be together anymore. And we did get the cool scene, though, where he broke into prison and beat the crap out of Kingpin, and when I can do this whenever I want. That was cool. But on the whole, when you look at it, and then it led to One More Day, it's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. So Civil War, I love you, Mark Miller. I love you as a writer, but maybe that wasn't the best decision to do. And I think that's kind of when Spider-Man died. That's, to me now, it's like that's it. Whenever I do my usual Spider-Man rereads, I kind of just stop right before Civil War and go like, that's a good point. Because they're all happy now. He's married to MJ forever, and it's super fun. So, and then after One More Day, they've never been the same, right? It's never been the same between them. They disillusioned the marriage between Peter and MJ, and it's never been since, right? And we had hope with Nick Spencer when he came to Spider-Man, and his whole plan was he was gonna, get rid of One More Day, reverse One More Day. He put Peter and MJ back together, and everyone's like, great, they're together again. This is awesome. That was a good selling point for me to read the comics. And his whole plan was inevitably One More Day would be reversed. Now, can you imagine the marketing you could have done with that? One of the most contentious moments in Spider-Man history, a moment that literally caused people to stop reading the comic. And you go, we're undoing it. It's undone. We're undoing it. Peter and MJ, they're going to get back together and be married just as like you all remembered and loved. People would have bought that comic in droves. You would have brought those people who were gone, you would have brought them back because they would have been intrigued to see it. But Marvel, they cut the legs out of Nick Spencer's run, and he wasn't allowed to do it, which is a shame because I was enjoying that Nick Spencer run. I really was. I mean, hell, he was just bringing it back to how Spider-Man kind of was with the villains and all that. I mean, hell, the storyline was called back to basics for God's sakes, right? He knew what he was doing there. And then, as if to like completely turn in the other direction, we got the Zeb Wells run, which is a disaster. It's one of the worst goddamn, I think, comic book runs ever to ever exist, and it introduced us to Paul, and I will never forgive them for that. Should Peter and MJ get back together is the big question. Yes, I believe they should, because like I said, they're the Lois and Clark. When it comes to Peter Parker and his love interest, you'll have the people who throw the black cats, right? Or the Gwen Stacy's, right? But majority of it, no, it's Mary Jane Watson. That's his girlfriend, that's his wife, right? That's how it is, right? That's how it is in pretty much every other media too. Sam Raimi movies, who's the love interest? It's Mary Jane. If Andrew got Amazing Spider-Man 3, Mary Jane was going to show up and be his new interest. She hadn't had a scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it got cut because there was so much in the movie and it just didn't flow, right? So much. But she was going to show up in Amazing Spider-Man 3 and be his new love interest, right? Like, that's how it was going to be. And in Spider-Man 94, the fantastic cartoon, who does Peter end up marrying? It's Mary Jane. Who does he, what's the cliffhanger of the show about? Him going to find Mary Jane because he wants to find her. The comic book that's coming out, like the Spider-Man 94 comic book, which I will read, by the way. I'm absolutely going to read that. What's one of the big selling points? He found Mary Jane. That's great. They're together again. We can explore their life, right? Like, that's what people want. I mean, like, look at the buzz you got with X-Men 97 when it was that little cameo of Peter and MJ. Everyone, that blew up. Everyone's like, oh my god, he found her. Oh my god, they're back together. Oh my god, that's so great. And that was the whole thing. People are like, okay, we need that freaking Spider-Man revival show now. Come on, right? That's what it is. Even in video games, you go to video games as well, right? In Spider-Man Web of Time, what's one of the big moments of that game? When Peter finds out Mary Jane dies, and he's pleading with Miguel to save her. He tells him, he's like, my life is meaningless without her, right? She's everything to him. Insomniac, what's one of the big points of the first Spider-Man game? Peter and MJ reconciling their relationship and getting back together. They get back together in the end of the game. And while I don't like Spider-Man 2, the end of the game is Peter taking a step back because he wants to, keep building his life and spend more time with Mary Jane, Crimson Chin and all. That's just how it is, right? It's just Peter and MJ. They are the peanut butter and jelly. They go together like that, right? Because they're the Lois and Clark. And it's not just a Spider-Man problem, right? Because we all know Marvel editorial hates this guy's guts. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why you take your flagship hero, the guy who is your poster boy, and decide we're just gonna shit all over him and give him like the worst goddamn stories ever. Like, you'd think it'd be the opposite. You'd think you'd try your hardest to make it be like, well, Marvel's kind of in a slump, but Spider-Man's always good. He's always old, reliable, type of thing. When it's like, no, it's like Marvel shit. So is Spider-Man, I guess. Too. It's not just a Spider-Man thing, right? It's also a Mary Jane thing. She has gone through a character assassination, right? They made her Jackpot, a superhero, which she never should have been, because that's not the role Mary Jane Watson fills. That's not the type of love interest she is. And I have zero problem with a superhero getting together with another superhero as their love interest. That's fine. I am absolutely fine with that. One of my favorite comic book couples of all time is freaking Nightwing and Batgirl. Absolutely fine with that, right? All Green Arrow and Black Canary, Scott and Jean, Rogue and Gambit. It works fine. You know what else works fine? When a superhero falls in love with a regular citizen, like Superman and Lois, or Wally West and Linda Park, or Barry Allen and Iris West. It is absolutely fine for a superhero to fall in love with a regular person, because in some way that can remind them also of what they're fighting for, right? Because they have to now worry, like, oh, well, if it's a superhero dating a superhero, they know, okay, my significant other, they are good, they can handle themselves. But if they're dating a regular person, now they're like, oh, well, I need to, maybe step up what I'm doing because, they're not like me. They don't have the powers I do. They don't have, the skill set I do. They're just a regular everyday person. So one day they could be in danger like all the other civilians. So I need to step up and make sure nothing happens to them. Again, we're adding depth to this, right? And Mary Jane Watson was that for Peter. She filled that role for him. Like I said, she was his rock. She kept him grounded. She assured him when he was doubtful of himself. There is, again, nothing wrong with that. And it's just not the role she fit. Not every girl in comic books needs to be a goddamn superhero, right? Like, again, you look at Lois Lane. No one in the wildest dreams was like, yeah, Lois should get powers and be a superhero. No one thought that. And then DC decided they were going to do that anyway because they're run by a bunch of morons. But no one thought that. They're like, yeah, Lois is fine just being a regular human with the strongest dude in the world. No one had a problem with it. Zero problem with it. And no one had a problem with it just being Mary Jane and Peter. But then they went and made her Jackpot, put her with Paul. She's Venom. She's fucking Venom right now. Like, what are we doing? That's the problem, right? It's not just the fact that, Marvel doesn't want MJ and Peter to get together. Because we know they want that. Tom Brevoort, the dumbass, has stated that, multiple times that they don't put them together because they think it damages Spider-Man's marketability, which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard, because she's part of it. She's part of the iconic core definition of Spider-Man. Like Aunt May, and Uncle Ben, and Flash, and Harry. She's part of it. She's part of the core fundamental of Spider-Man. And, he was like, oh, no, well, they can get together. We have no problem with them dating, but they can never get married. Because they're stupid, of course, right? Because let's just forget how big and how much their marriage comic sold, I guess. Right? We're just going to forget that. That never happened. And it's the dumbest thing, man. It's the dumbest fucking thing ever. So once again, going back to the question of the video, should Peter and MJ get back together? Yes, I think they should. I think they still can. Because remember, like I've said, there's been multiple cases, not just in comic books, in media in general, where there's two people and they're just, they were a couple, they kind of got broken up, or they were like a will they, won't they, and the writing just destroyed them, and then people are like, ugh, I don't know, maybe it's too late now, maybe we should move on. No. All it takes is actual good writers with good intentions. And you can bring this back. Again, I bring up Rogue and Gambit. We were fucked with those two, right? Remember the whole Mystique thing? They had some garbage writing with Mystique, and she was seducing Gambit, and then Gambit's like, no, that's weird, and then Rogue's like, why didn't you tell me that Mystique seduced you? And he's like, well, what was I supposed to say? Hey, sorry, your mom kind of wanted to fuck me, I guess. Right? We had a lot of shit there, right? Where she kind of left Gambit in, like, the fucking North Pole or something, just to leave him there, and it was awful. Again, all it took was a good writer to come in and understand these two characters, get their relationship firmly hammered down, and be like, this is it. They got married, and no one complained. Everyone's like, thank God. It's been years. This should have happened sooner, if anything. So I do believe Peter and MJ, again, they can get back together. They should get back together. Because that is the core. Like, that is these two characters. They are made for each other. And it should happen. Because like I said, it opens up so many possibilities. It helps the characters. It gives us new opportunities for stories. We can go one day, pray to God, like Ultimate Spider-Man. What's the big marketing thing of Ultimate Spider-Man, the relaunch? Peter and MJ are married with kids. And everyone's like, yes, sir, I will take 50,000 of those, please. So it's the thing, it's like Marvel knows what people want. They know they want Peter and MJ together. They give it to us, not in the main universe. They give it to us in Ultimate Spider-Man. They give it to us in the Spider-Man 94 comic book. That even is given to us in Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals had the little MJ plushie come out, right? And the plushie reads this. As long as Peter comes home safe, Mary Jane doesn't mind how late he is, and no matter which universe he's in, he'll always think of her. He really did hit the jackpot, huh? You are so fucked that Marvel Rivals, that China understands the character of Spider-Man and Mary Jane better than fucking Marvel does. Do you understand the dire situation we are in for this to fucking happen? For Marvel Rivals, again, a game made by China, to understand the characters of the comic books better than the fucking company themselves. So yeah, that's where I'm ending this little rant, video, whatever. I don't think it's an essay. I doubt it. I sucked at writing essays, so, If this counts as an essay, maybe I should have got an A and my teacher hated me or something. She did hate me. My English teacher sucked. Anyway, moving on. That's it. Answer the question? Yes, they should get back together. All it's going to take is a good writer with good intentions to bring them back together. So, do you think Peter and MJ should get back together? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys all so much for listening to this raving lunatic, and I'll see you all next time.